was involved in and going through leadership training. And part of what they did was this time where there's about 50 of us in this room together, and we would go around the room and meet people. But as we met someone, we would have to look them in the eye and kind of, check them out. And we would have to say one of two things: I trust you, or I don't trust you. Complete strangers, didn't know anyone. But this is how this worked, And so you walk up to somebody and you're just like, I don't trust you, Like, how demeaning is that? But it's just, being honest about it. And thinking through that, you can look to someone who's sitting right by you, and you probably would be able to say, I trust you, If you don't trust them, don't say it to them right now. And those of you who are at home, if someone's sitting there with you, like, it's easier, that proximity, when you're closer to someone, the more you know them, to be able to say, yeah, I trust you, versus a stranger. I mean, we could get up here, and those of us that are here in this room together, you could find somebody across the room and maybe not know them at all, but, do you trust them or do you not? And so for us to understand that trust, it depends a lot on how well we know the person, the experience we've had with that person, the time spent, and the character of that other person. Are they trustworthy? Like, do I trust you enough that I can give you $1 and you can go get me something out of the vending machine, and I believe that you're going to bring it back to me? Can I trust you with my car keys? Can I trust you with my kids? It's getting a little bit deeper, and it all depends on how well we know someone. Trust, it's tricky for all of us, and trust is based on truth. And like I shared with you guys last week, I think one of the things that we're all grappling with right now is trying to figure out the truth about all kinds of stuff. Trust in knowing, is what they're telling me the truth? Is the news really the news, or is it carefully crafted to sway my opinion? You know what I mean? We're not going to get into network stuff right now, right? Are these facts, are they tainted? Are they politically driven? Is there an agenda behind it economically? Are they racially motivated, or religiously motivated, or selfishly motivated? Truth leads to trust. So who do you trust? Think about the people in your life. Who do you trust? And I know that we all come from different places, different backgrounds. Spiritually, we're all in different places. But I just want to come straight out with this question today for all of us, no matter where we are, no matter what you believe. Do I trust in God? Do I trust in God? Some may say, like, I don't know. He's out there somewhere and just got this whole thing spinning, and he's far off. Some, because of experiences in the past and hurt, maybe you're like, you know what? No, because how could he let these things happen in my life? Some would say, yes, I trust God. But here's the thing. Do I trust God with everything? And do I trust him in all things? Do I trust him about my future spouse, if I'm single, my family, my kids, job, career? Do I trust him? If you have a Bible, open it up to Psalm 125. We're in this series playlist, and this is what's called the Songs of Ascent. These are these songs that God's people sang as they traveled to Jerusalem to worship him 3 times a year, spring, summer, and the fall. And they would go there, and on the way, as they're walking together up to Jerusalem, the highest city in that region, they would sing these songs. There's 15 different songs, and today we're just going to look at one of them. Thinking about this, we have to like get this picture of families, extended families, even smaller communities of people all traveling on a journey up to Jerusalem and these mountains that surround it. And along the way, they're singing these songs and thinking in our mind, these families, these groups of people going, and they're singing the lyrics to these songs that they all know. They have them memorized. Their kids have them memorized. They do. Their grandparents might be with them, extended family, but they're all singing these songs on the way. And these lyrics, they knew they were true. Listen to me, because there was a history. They knew because their ancestors had lived through things. And maybe even them personally, they had seen and experienced God's faithfulness. They had seen God come through. They had experienced injustice and oppression. Those who had gone before them had gone through all of this stuff. And so they could actually sing about him because they knew these things to be true. There was an account. They knew of God's faithfulness, his presence, his protection. And so I want us to go through this, and we're going to camp out, honestly, on the first 6 words of this the majority of the time. So don't start freaking out thinking that we're going to be here for 2.5 hours, all right? 6 words, we're going to look at those a whole lot. Because the rest of this song, it hinges on those first 6 words. Because these are words that maybe we assume and we put our lips to, but not our lives. So look, these first 6 words here. Those who trust in the Lord. Those who trust in the Lord. Can we include ourselves as one of those people? Those people. Those who trust in God. This word trust, it means a boldness, a confidence, being secure. Am I secure, and do I boldly put my confidence in God? And I think for a lot of us, the answer might be yes. I think it probably is. We say, yeah, I trust God. But I think that answer can be really flippant, and we can just say it real quick. That whole search me, God, know what's going on in me. Think about that. Do I trust that God is in everything all the time, that he's in control? And think about, are there areas of my life, your life, where you don't trust him? Like, what is it? Sure, God's over everything. He's in control. He's in control of everything but the shutters here. I don't know. For those of you online, you missed that, but it's okay. That's why you just need to be here. But what do I not trust him in? And here's the thing, my trust, it really wavers depending upon circumstances for a lot of us. Or for some of us, we put our trust in something and someone else instead of him. There's a promise here that's coming up. It says, those who trust in the Lord, there's a promise made to those who put their trust in him, and we can be secure and boldly put our trust in God when we remove those other things that we've placed our trust in. We'll talk about this a little bit more, but I just want to ask you, what makes you feel secure? What are those things in your life that bring security to you? And does your trust in something or someone supersede your trust in God? And here's what I know about our ability and our willingness to trust. Trust grows or deteriorates based on the combination of experience, time with, and the character of the other person. It's as if God would ask you the question, do you trust in me? Do you really know me? Do you want to know me? Maybe you say you know me, but do you know me enough to trust me? In our Western culture, trust is an intellectual understanding of reality and what's going on. It has to do with what we're thinking. But in Eastern cultures, in the Hebrew scriptures, this trust, it comes from experiential understanding, not human investigation. Trust isn't just head knowledge, but it's an interwoven connection of the head and the heart. One of the most pinned and posted scriptures that's out there. Y'all can probably follow me along in this and close your eyes. For those of you that, maybe grew up in the church or what, trust in the Lord with all your heart, right? With all your heart. This is your whole being. Lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways, acknowledge him. In all your ways, in your actions, you submit to him, to his will, and he'll make your path straight. See, there's this combination. Faith is a noun. It's something that I have or that I possess. I have faith. I have faith in. I have faith. Faith in God is the belief that God is sovereign, that he's over all, that he's in control, and that he can and will do whatever he deems best. Trust, on the other hand, listen to me, trust is a verb. There's a willful action. It's something that you do or act upon. Faith comes first, but trust is never guaranteed. Trust is a willful choice. It's a deliberate action. And it can only really grow out of your faith. Years ago, in the house that we lived in before, we had this neighbor across the street, and I'll be just real honest. When we first moved there, man, I was so scared of him. He was older, and the reason why, here's why I was scared. He had this beard, and he was probably in his late 60s, but he looked like old man Marley off Home Alone, okay? So it was like, and the kids were scared of him, and then as the years went on, got to know him a little bit more. He was the nicest guy ever, and we'd have conversations, but anyway, he had a pickup truck, but he also had this moped, and he would take the moped on nice days to work or whatever, and then one day I'm out doing yard work, and he had a new moped. It was like a bigger one. And so we're talking, and I saw him multiple times with that moped, but then one day I'm out there in the yard, and he's like, hey, you want to take a ride? And I was like, okay, first of all, I'm like in my late 30s, and there's this older man in his late 60s. So that's just awkward before I'm like hopping on like I'm in a Macklemore video going downtown on the moped, And so I'm like, no, I'm a man. I'm going to do this, So like, yeah, let's go. So he has a helmet. I have a helmet. I'm holding on. And I'm holding on to it. He takes off. And I think, oh, man, we're just going to stroll around the neighborhood, And the next thing you know, like we only lived a few blocks off of Kell. Well, he gets on the service road and he decides he's going to get up on the highway. And he like floors this thing. And I'm just white-knuckled, clenching, and I'm freaking out. And here's why I'm freaking out. Because first of all, I could see he was going like 70, but I was like, this is not how I want to go down. Like, really, like the obituary, Ronnie Whitfield passed away in a moped accident. Like, I was really scared. And so I get on there and like, we keep going, you know, there's one exit, we're just still going. And I'm like, am I ever going to get off? You know, like, this is scary. And so anyway, we go and we get back, and I was alive, but my adrenaline was shot. And I thought about that when it comes to this. You know, I had faith in his abilities. He could drive that thing. I saw him do it all the time. And I trusted him enough to hop on that thing. And so, you know, was I willing to overcome my fear? Was I, you know, willing to allow him to take me? Listen to me. Was I willing to allow him to take me on this unknown journey? That I didn't know for sure where I was going. That maybe I was a little nervous, maybe I was a little scared. But my faith, it translated into trust. I deliberately acted on my faith. I got on there and boldly took action. And I didn't act, or I didn't trust in my own abilities or my own thoughts, but on his abilities and his character. And when it comes to God, I don't know how well we know his abilities and his character. Go on here. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion. He's talking about Jerusalem, which was up, which cannot be shaken, but endures forever. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, because there were mountains all around there. They're singing this song on their way up there. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people both now and forevermore. When we trust in God, his abilities, his character, it's on him. We're not shaken. And as we'll see later, no matter what happens, no matter the circumstances, I can trust him. I can be confident. And it's because of, it comes down to a couple things, but I just narrowed it down to these two things: promise and presence. Okay, promise. How many of us in this room, how many of you online, just give the hand up, have you ever made a promise and then broken the promise? Anybody? Okay, we're horrible promise keepers, all right? I noticed this with my kids as they got older, because I would say something, they're like, you know, we're going somewhere, and they're like, you promised, Dad? I'm like, yeah, and we just go, and then the next thing you know, life happens, something happens, and they're like, Dad, you promised we could go to Target. And I'm like, sorry, like things happen. We break promises all the time. And so now they're like, you promise? And I'm like, I don't promise because I don't know for sure. And then there are times that I will say, I promise. See, we're all promise breakers. We all are. And it affects our character. If we break promises, can we be trusted? Listen, God makes good on what he says. Every time, all the time. He keeps his promises. And faith, when it's strong enough to believe in something or someone, faith believes in something or someone without logical proof, okay? But trust is different. Trust is the reliance in the character of the other person. Look at this here. We oftentimes, the first part of this verse, but I want you to look at this. Every good and perfect gift is from above. These gifts come from the Father, the creator of the heavenly lights, in whose character there is no change at all. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Those who trust in the Lord can't be shaken. I want you to think about that. Like, take trust take in the Lord out and just leave a blank there. Those who trust in Donald Trump can never be shaken. Whoa, just look at Twitter, okay? Those who trust in a political party can never be shaken. Those who trust in a job or the economy or their 401k, those who trust in their own abilities, even those who trust in a spouse or a parent or a family or friend, you can't say that they can't be shaken because they can't. People can be trusted and should be trusted, but all people can and will fail us. We're human, we're sinful. The foundation of our trust is to be in the one who's constant, the one who cannot, and will not fail to keep his promise. He knows the end from the beginning. He knows the number of hairs on your head. He knows every breath that you take. And he's good and he's faithful. And he's not far off, but he's actually very close and present. Look at this here. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people, both now and forevermore. You are anything but left alone in your fight against temptation, against evil. He's close. God is near. He's present. And that's a promise. It says he surrounds his people forever. Forever. Jesus comes to show us this. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was God. The Word was with God. He was there in the beginning. He came and dwelt among us. And Jesus assured us of his presence and promise. Look, he said, and be sure of this. Jesus said this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. I'll be with you every day of your life until your time runs out. And then even though physically he is not here right now, he promised this for us. He promised this presence for us and in us. He says, and I'll ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. The world cannot accept him because it neither sees him nor knows him, but you know him, for he lives with you and will be in you. Do you know Jesus? Do you know that Spirit that is in you as a follower of Jesus? Now and forever. Jesus never guaranteed that we would be spared suffering or pain or loss, or that we would not be persecuted or face evil or be wronged. He said, in this world you will have trouble. And in varying degrees, we all have experienced loss and suffering. But here's the thing. Trust in God doesn't assume that he's going to intervene and things are going to work out like I want them to work out. This is where the circumstances for us, this is where our trust gets off. When things don't go how I thought they were going to go, like I don't know if I can trust him. No. Do we trust what he's doing even if it doesn't make sense? Even if it doesn't seem like he's present or near? And trust, in effect, it says that God's still trustworthy even when I don't understand. Look at the rest of this. The scepter of the wicked will not remain over the land allotted to the righteous, for then the righteous might use their hands to do evil. Remember, they're walking along here and they're seeing all these places as they make their way to Jerusalem. And they know and they've seen when invading armies have come in and taken over, and they remember things that have happened, but they also know that God does deliver. They've seen this. Lord, do good to those who are good, to those who are upright in heart, but those who turn to crooked ways, the Lord will banish with the evildoers. Peace be on Israel. There's this confidence in these lyrics. His goodness, his fairness, his mercy, his justice. It's been seen and it will continue to be seen into the future. There's a guy who, I'll just make this brief. There's a guy who a long time ago, was the most well-known man in all of the Middle East. He had more money than anyone. 7 sons, 3 daughters, servants. And life was good. His kids were older. His kind of everything that he had just continued to grow. Had livestock. And one day, God allowed Satan to intervene in this guy's life. And then one day, a couple of invading armies came, took all of his livestock, burnt up some of what he had. A tornado came and actually crushed the house that all of his kids were in, eating together, and killed them all. And in one day, he lost everything. Everything. And over the course of time, his friends came along, and even in that too, Satan even attacked him with physical ailments, and he had sores on his body. And this guy who was once physically strong, able, capable, was just a oozing mess. His friends tried to tell him, like, what did you do wrong? Why is this happening to you? If you only knew God, then da-da-da-da-da. And this whole time, this guy never said anything bad about God. He never sinned in talking about God. His wife even told him just like, curse God and die. And over the course of time, he processed, he called out to God, cried out to God. And God really put him in his rightful place of just saying, hey, where were you? Where were you when I did all of this? You there when I put the clouds here and the seas, when I put the animals, the tree? Where were you then? How wise are you? And I want you to see this, because this is what he said in response to all of this. And this has everything to do with trust. He said, I know, God, that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. Surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. We find later on that God actually blessed the second half of his life twice as much as the first. But here's my question. What if God hadn't? Is he still good? Can you still trust him? Do we still believe that he knows what's best? Because it's not always a fairy tale. It doesn't end up being a fairy tale all the time. Listen to me, here in this life. But this is not it. Circumstances will change. We'll have depths and darkness. We'll have seasons that don't make sense. But will I trust in the one who is present and who keeps his promises? So let me just throw this out there for y'all today. Like, what can you control? No matter what happens, what can you control? You can control this, paying attention to the faithfulness of Jesus. His faithfulness, no matter what's going on. The only thing that is certain, hear me out, because some of you, your parents have failed you, you've had people who you were close to have failed you. The only thing that is certain is the love of Jesus. That's the only thing that's certain. And even though you may not understand things that have happened, he's there. He's present. May we experience this shift of our faith combining with hope that grows into trust. And may we begin to realize the confidence that we have by experiencing God's relentless faithfulness to us. He doesn't change. The God who made you and knows you and loves you can be trusted at all times in all things with whatever is going on. We can be completely secure, and we are completely secure because who is on our side on all sides at all times. Would you bow your heads?
We are so glad that you are with us this morning. Thank you for watching. And we just wanted to give you this reminder that if you have not already signed up for Right Now Media, we want you to have access to that huge video library. So please text Onelife RNM to 97000, and that's going to give you a link that you can go in and register for Right Now Media.
Yeah, and we just want to make sure that you guys know and are aware that we have opened up our COVID fund. With all the numbers rising with all the COVID cases, we just know that there is going to be needs coming up and needs that are still present of how we can help people. If you want to know more about this, you can check out our Facebook page, and Ronnie posted a video earlier this week. But we would love if you could give to that financially, or if you're in our Onelife Communications page, there might be more information in there of how things are coming up and how you can help serve other people and families here at Onelife Community Church. We hope you guys have a great week.
for me, because we are sinful, we do break promises, we do rebel and do our own thing, but he loves us enough, Jesus does, that while we were still sinners, he died for us. And he gave his life, he was buried, and he rose from the dead 3 days later. Dead man alive because he is God. And anyone who places their faith in him and trusts him with their life will be saved. And so today, maybe that is the action for you, whether you're here in the room, whether you're watching online. It is saying, yes, Jesus, I need you. You know me. You know where I am. I believe that you are God. I believe that you died and you rose from the dead. You paid for my sins. I'm yours. Take my life. Make me new. And may your spirit, that spirit of truth, lead me and guide me in following you all the days of my life. Father God, thank you. Thank you that we can trust you. We can trust your character, who you are. You're a promise keeper and you are near. You are right where we are now, and you will be. You will continue to be. May we live our lives for you and to you. And it's all because of Jesus. And I pray this in his name. Amen.